my question kind of follows along the line of the gentleman who was talking about his daughter, although for me, I had no problem with my children. My challenge is sometimes with the man in my life that I love. And my life is about to expand in a very exciting way, in that my boyfriend of 5 years has asked me to move in. Even though I realize it will be exciting, it's not even the reality. Sometimes it's the things that I worry about that may not even be realities.
Oh, they'll be realities.
That's what I mean. I know. So I guess what
you might want to say is, let's wait a little while till I work the bugs out of these things.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, my landlord just told me 2 days ago that they're selling the house. So I would love to keep on working on getting out of my own way. And perhaps if there is maybe a focus wheel that you can help me with, because even though we're very different, I do believe that I'm at a point where I can let go of some of these thoughts or trying to maybe expect the wrong thing.
The focus that is relatively new to this conversation, that you may not have been considering as much of some of the other things that we've talked about, is the subject of the path of least resistance. So we know it's repetitive, but let's talk about why there even is a path. Why is there a path that you can feel? And the answer to that, you know it, is because you've launched rockets, and the rockets exist in a vibrational place, and that inner being part of you is standing there as that vibration, and law of attraction is responding to that vibration, and so there's this calling of you to that path. So the path of least resistance matters because it's the you coming together with you. It's the satisfying of all your hopes and dreams. It's the fulfilling of your reason for being here. In other words, it's really a big deal, this coming into alignment. Sometimes you call it a homecoming. Sometimes you call it that place of alignment. We say things to you like alignment trumps everything, that nothing is more important than that you get into vibrational sync with who you are. So path of least resistance really matters. So you're moving through life experience, having lots of experiences with many different people, and some of them are more difficult than others. And so most people are looking for compatible partners because they're looking for conditions that are not just tolerable, but hopefully sweet conditions. In other words, let me find someone to live with who likes the same things I do and is orderly in the same way that I am, and has a similar care about decor, and has a similar body chemistry, has a similar timing clock. In other words, you don't want to be with someone who stays up while you sleep. So there are all these points of compatibility that so many people are believing that is the basis of a good relationship. And what we're wanting to introduce in a really strong way to this conversation is those things don't matter nearly as much as your ability to stay in alignment with who you are, because that's the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is about your alignment and only about your alignment. The path of least resistance isn't about compatibility with this and this and this and this and this, because in your alignment you will have such a strong point of vibrational attraction that you will evoke from almost anyone things that are a vibrational match to you. So a lot of people are giving a lot of lip service to things like path of least resistance. Esther was delighted when she heard us begin talking about unconditional love, and she really liked it when we began talking about path of least resistance, and she felt sort of validated and vindicated when we said, if someone's giving you a lot of trouble, just fire them. Because it certainly feels like the path of least resistance to not keep tripping over the incompatibility that you find. But the thing that matters so much, you've already found enough compatibility that you've been together for 5 years. So there is clearly something stuck in both of your vibrational craws. In other words, there's quite a bit going on vibrationally that has made you reluctant to do this sooner. And so that's why we think that before you actually take the steps, that you give yourself permission to take your path of least resistance, which doesn't mean control the behavior of another.
Right.
It means you find a way of lining up with you no matter what. So what we're saying to you is, you can find the path of least resistance if you can let the majority of the conditions of this cohabitation, if you can let the conditions of this matter hardly at all, while the unconditions matter more. Now, we chose those words, or we directed a vibration at Esther so that she could find those words, condition and uncondition, condition and uncondition, unconditional alignment, unconditional love, because we want you to focus upon the vibrational translation into the emotion, not into the compatibility of the way you are cohabitating. Can you feel the difference?
Yes.
So what you want to foster within yourself, what you want to focus on right now, is the feeling of well-being that you feel when you're together, the fun that you have when you're together, the clarity that he evokes from you and you from him, the sense of well-being that you often find together, the feeling of a oneness that you find. Let those unconditions, and by unconditions we're really talking about thoughts and emotions. Thoughts and emotions. So you've been doing something a little different than that. You've been worrying about conditions and having emotions about those. You've been sort of weighing the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, and you've acknowledged a few things that you are worried about. And so you're doing what we're encouraging you to do, but you're doing it in the opposite way of what we're encouraging. In other words, you're finding conditions and you're making those be the unconditioned. So here's what we're saying. Worry is an unconditioned. Love is an unconditioned. Frustration is an unconditioned. Happiness is an unconditioned. It's a response to a condition, but it's an unconditioned. Stay with us. We're going to bring you around to what we're wanting you to feel. So when you see something unwanted, you feel the emotion of negative emotion. When you see something wanted, you feel the emotion of positive emotion. But those are emotions that are conditional.
Right.
We want you to find unconditional emotions without the conditions. Can you do that after you've been with someone for so long?
I believe that I can. I believe that I can, but I have to learn to trust that I can do that.
It's easier to do with a new person, isn't it?
But as you say, I take myself with me if I go to a new person.
You're going to take yourself with you with the old person too.
Yeah. So why not learn now to take myself?
We're not trying to talk you out of this relationship. We're just trying to shake something loose within you to make you realize that you have habits of thought that are based on conditions that are not going to serve you. And you can't work your way out of that. What that always ends up being is you need to be differently if we're going to cohabitate. You need to be different than you are. But that sort of makes you an oddball in the whole world, doesn't it? Because everybody sort of kind of needs to be different than they are. Have you noticed? Yeah. Almost everybody you know, it'd be better if they were different than they are. That guy'd be darn near perfect if he was entirely different. That'd be the perfect relationship if everything about him was different than it is. And so what we're wanting to convey, and we're taking our time in doing it, we want you to realize that the only relationship that really matters to you is the one between you and you. It's the one between the physical you, personality you, having the emotion and the thought right now you, and the you that's in your vortex. This is the relationship that you're working on. Every other relationship is insignificant by comparison. But almost everybody makes those relationships the condition by which they disallow their alignment, and then the way they feel is dependent upon the behavior of the other. So almost every relationship turns out to be me needing to control the behavior of you in order for me to feel good, which makes every relationship miserable at best and not lasting very long. doesn't need to be that way. We don't mean to paint such a bleak picture. So here's what we would begin to say to ourselves, if not to him, maybe to him, but to ourselves certainly. I'm really eager to enter into this new relationship. And I'm talking about the one between me and me, not between me and you. I'm entering into a new relationship. What do you mean? Well, it's occurring to me that I really want to discover what unconditional love really is. And so for just a little while, you're the condition that's keeping me from discovering what unconditional love really is. Because I don't want to be happy because you make me happy. I want to be happy. Because if I'm happy because you make me happy, then you damn well better always be making me happy. I want to feel good because I found a way to feel good apart from you. I don't want to give you the responsibility for me to feel good. I have to feel good. I want to feel good.
Yes.
And so I'm just going to give this a little time where I show myself that I am a happy person regardless of what you're doing. And once I've convinced myself of that, then let's be together and live happily ever after. Not because we make each other happy, but because we know how to be happy and we're together.
Wow. Beautiful.
So that sounds real good, doesn't it? In practical terms, how are you going to pull that off? Because the first time somebody makes you unhappy, there you are again. Oh, it's you again. I need to fire you or divorce you or leave you in the bushes for some other parents to find. So you get the concept, don't you? So now let's chew over this idea of unconditional love by talking about creation, by talking about deliberate creation, by talking about vibration turning to relationships, vibration turning to money, vibration turning to buildings, vibration turning to empires, vibration turning to all of the tangibles that you want to call real life experience. But let's talk about how on the way to all of that, it's moving through this emotional realization, this emotional translation, this emotional manifestation. And just for a little while, it is our powerful request to all of you, especially to you, to all of you, that you let your attention be just for a little while on just getting from the vibration into something that you're noticing, from the vibration into something that you're feeling. Because if how you feel can be what you're going for, then all the things that you have always believed were necessary in order to find that will come easily into your experience. But if you believe these things are necessary in order to feel this, you just can't get there from there. And that's what we've always meant when we say you take yourself with you, you see. We are certain that you've spent enough time, that you've launched enough rockets of desire together, that there is a potential for a wonderful relationship here. But we can also feel with you and almost everybody else, almost 100% of you want a relationship to fill a void. And as long as there is a void that you are attempting to fill with a relationship, the relationship can never really be what you want it to be. Then it's conditional. The old "you don't bring me flowers anymore" thing. And what we want is for them to have never brought you flowers. We want there never to have been flowers that you were dependent upon for the way you feel. We want you to feel good because you feel good, not because someone makes you feel good. You can do this, you see. So we're not teaching independence in the sense that you're hanging out there all alone. We're talking about aligning with the energy that creates worlds. We're talking about aligning with who you really are and all that you are. And then together experiencing the fullness of who you are, coming together in your strength and then demonstrating the details together. Oh, that's so delicious when you come together both in alignment and then you demonstrate the details together rather than needing the demonstratable details in order to bring you into alignment, which never works. Really good. Enough?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Really good.
Thank you.